Right here, and yeah, I've been playing Megabonk for already a couple of days. I already unlocked the skeleton skateboarder, which I also played at the when the demo was released. But man, this game I can definitely see how addicting it is. Yeah, I'm not into survivors. I'm not like Moist Critical or other people that are heavily addicted to these games. And I feel like these games were built, you know, to fulfill that addiction. Not to say that's a bad thing, but I feel like it's supposed to be, because the thing is that my opinion of Vampire Survivors and all these other survivor games is that they can feel a little bit mobile, like mobile gaming, and at least to me, and I try to play. I try to really have that, just effect with, with Megabonk, it's different because it is a 3D, Vampire Survivor type of game. Okay, if Vampire Survivors was like a 3D platformer, then there you go, Megabonk. But I try to really have that fulfillment when it comes to that type of gameplay, that type of mechanic with Crafty Survivors, if anyone ever knows that game. And it fell short. I don't really feel interested to come back and playing it again. It's just that there is this loop and also progression. And there's a part of me where I just don't feel like fulfilling, even though I completed like, a round within that game, and I can definitely pass through each of these levels with breeze. But the thing is that there's something that isn't making it enjoyable because it feels mobily. But when it comes down to Megabonk, it does somewhat feels like if like a, I don't know, like an N64 game, if it had that the survivor like genre, built in. So in many ways, it does its thing with, especially with the retro and sounds and music. It's trying to be retro in its own way, but not too retro to the point where it doesn't, it looks off dated, but it's perfect. It's like built in a way where each enemy you take down, each area you go, and pretty much you can make the area somewhat your own, kind of like your own skate park, because there's these like ramps and deep ends of ramps and high places and stuff like that, and you're just going all over the place. And the thing is that, especially playing as the skeleton skateboarder, but also playing with all these other characters that seem to have like this sliding ability or something, it just makes it more fun the more that you're good at it. And I feel like for many games like that, it does well because of that being built in. And that's what I enjoyed most when it comes to Megabonk. It's a game where if you're good enough knowing, because the thing is that the end goal, especially you being invincible, is something that I was kind of worried about. I was hoping that it doesn't go into that length, because at least for me, because the build up for it is what I personally enjoyed within the game, or these other games. When it comes down to any survivor games, being invincible and stuff like that is cool, but at the same time, and this is kind of like a lesson that I learned from Dinkum, is that when you have everything you have in the game, especially if you unlock it all, especially if you have like, you're invincible basically, doesn't make the game any more enjoyable because there is no end goal. And with this one, there is an end goal of unlocking a whole bunch of stuff, because I just, started, of course, a couple days ago. And then I find myself like really enjoying it more as it goes on. And especially how, like there's so many areas and kind of like loops around it. I feel like in a way it's like side quests or something, kind of like a GTA map. Like you find like different people, different shrines, different bosses, different areas to, journey around, I guess. It does build this like, very addictive and fulfilling way of, having just my moments in the game where it's like, yeah, I feel like it's definitely worth progressing as it goes on. And I haven't really reached to the other levels yet, but so far I'm having fun with Megabonk. It is the best game for a podcast. Like I'm listening to something, I'm like, oh, I can just play some Megabonk if I ever have a hankering for a pickup and play, then this game is kind of like perfect and it's in that league. So for sure, yeah, I truly enjoy Megabonk. Give it an 8 out of 10. Not the biggest, Vampire Survivor. When you adapt that with like a little bit of platforming, a little bit of skateboarding here and there, then hey, I feel like this game can somewhat be up there as game of the year for sure. I mean, a lot of people look at this, and the thing is that we're in this peak where there's so many, Vampire Survivors. But the thing is that when it comes to that genre, there has to be an end goal, and I feel like this one fulfills that. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. That was my first impressions. Well, love and peace, and God bless.